तो 1.3 ये है हमारा प्लानिंग एट द लेवल ऑफ टीचर. We have noted over and over again that the individual teacher is working within the framework represented by the syllabus and course material. In a typical school, the academic calendar for the year, agreed upon at a general staff meeting, will indicate the number of hours or periods for each subject over a term, and during each teaching phase before unit test, monthly test, terminal examination, and so on. The broad sequencing and time allocation for major syllabus topics or units is also done at the beginning of the year. The teacher's real work towards planning and preparation for day-to-day instruction begins with when the focus narrows down to what will be done in a series of lessons linked to a unit, spread over about a week, say. The what question here covers both topics, content and instructional activity. However, elaborate the course book. It will not and cannot indicate in details the transactions involved when 40 pupils and the teacher work together to cover the given unit. Working these out in the form of a detailed plan for each lesson and related homework or assignments is the responsibility of the teacher. It is true that many teachers, especially experienced ones, do not write out detailed plans for every lesson. We might note here that not having a neatly written plan which is clear to others does not mean that there was no planning at all. Experienced teachers can rely more on what they know intuitively and on their store of experience. They are less likely to be caught off guard if something unexpected happens in class and are less vulnerable to getting stuck on one or two minor points and neglecting more important matters. Planning is of importance for all teachers, especially for those at the beginning of their career. Planning, as we treat it here, should not be seen as a detailed list of things to do in strict order. In some minimal sense, such programming of items in sequence with time allocation is of course useful, but plans must not become burden. Imagine a father or a mother insisting on following a carefully worked out 180-minute plan for a family visit to the zoo when the children are normal youngsters of primary school age. The important principle underlying planning, especially of language lesson, is the most of what people do and experienced during a lesson should be purposeful. The different phase of teaching learning activity making up the lesson become purposeful when they contribute in some way to the aim of objective of the lesson and unit. Another way of saying this is that the objectives or learning targets of a unit call for certain types of learning experiences. The lessons related to this unit should provide them, and this is the task of the teacher. The term learning experiences refers to what individual pupils might be perceiving, thinking, feeling, intending to do, attempting to do while a lesson is in progress and while doing homework assignments, etc. Such experiences undoubtedly are personal and private. No one else, like the teacher, can directly control them or order, demand what they should be. However, it is possible and reasonable to argue that certain types of teaching learning activities would probably generate certain types of learning experiences. The course book or materials represent one strand or layer of activities. Some of the activities commonly indicated in course books are silent reading of short text, rereading of texts with specific purposes in mind, formulating responses to texts, explaining, predicting, relating to life, expressing them in speech or writing, working on language exercises, composing shorter or longer text, written or spoken. Among the activities that the teacher can add or develop from the materials are listening to teachers' presentations or explanations, reading aloud, taking down notes from teacher talk or blackboard, engaging in a discussion with the teachers. All students can be involved even if only a few actually speak, working on tasks or problems, or discussing some issue in pairs or groups. It is very obvious that the above list is only a sample and many more activities are possible. This abundance of possibility for classroom operations should remind us that when teacher talk becomes the predominant mode of activities in a lesson, many other possible and desirable things are not happening. Similarly, if 20 minutes or more are devoted to writing answers or compositions silently and individually, other possibilities are being set aside. It is the need to choose from this large set of possibilities that makes planning and preparation for lessons virtually unavoidable. Planning by the teacher does not necessarily mean major deviations from the scheme given in the course book. Modern course books are well organized and contain a wide variety of activities. After all, syllabus designers and materials writers have expertise, library resources, and time in plenty. The argument we are considering here is not that the course book is unsuitable, but that it is common and general and hence incomplete. Given the wide variation in pupil characteristics and classroom situations across schools, some units will not match or suit some groups of learners. This is where the teacher has to make conscious choices and decisions based on her intimate knowledge about her class, abilities, style, and discipline or interest, and above all, their learning history, that is, what they have and have not already learned or been exposed to in earlier classes or in other subjects. Planning done with such information in mind will lead to a plan or scheme for a lesson or set of two or three that is tailor made for each particular class. Other teachers also dealing with the very same unit and topic will develop different plans. Thus, the essential part of planning is the selection by the teacher or activities, learning experiences most suited to my pupil now from the large inventory of generally good items available. One aspect of planning for lesson is the listening of a series of things that the teacher will do and the pupil will do along with the time estimates. This would function like a detailed program schedule. A second aspect of planning is linked to the emphasis we now place on pupil involvement and participation as we noticed in section 1.1. Some of what pupil do or produce can contribute to the lesson proper. How does this happen? One example can be found in the way composition classes are conducted sometimes. A broad theme or topic is taken up for preliminary discussion. Opinions and suggestions from pupils are invited and put up on the board with only minimal correction or editing. With this pool of ideas as a base, the focus and structure of the piece, that is paragraph, report, story, etc., is agreed upon and the actual writing begins. Now let us look more closely at what happens. Instead of the teacher simply giving a topic and outline of points or hints, such complete writing exercise are found in course book. Their ideas and suggestions are made a part of the preparation for writing. An idea that one pupil has is made available to others. Individual pupils thus contribute to the inputs received by others as a part of the lesson, helping the teacher in effect. The point to be noted in relation to planning here is that such a process of participation is open-ended, and unpredictable. A class may find the proposed theme very exciting and virtually flood the teacher with their ideas, or they might be quite bored and unresponsive. In the former case, the teacher will have to manage the discussion skillfully and move to the next phase at an appropriate time. This has to be done sensitively. After inviting pupils to offer their ideas, it is unfair and discouraging to cut short the discussion suddenly after only a few have spoken. The teacher needs to anticipate what happens and be prepared. This is what lies at the heart of planning. In the next video, we will see 1.4 teacher level plans, some samples.
भागमत कर प्रयास भागमत